Hi, welcome back to my channel. So Succession's over. The show was good. Thanks for coming to my video essay, everybody. Be sure to rate 5 stars and leave a video response. Succession is easily the best television I've kept up with week to week, and it's probably my favorite show. I've made references to it in a bunch of my videos because I can't stop thinking about it, and hopefully this video will get the rest of that out of my system. They're gonna win so many Emmys this year, and they're gonna deserve them all. I will be spoiling the show, so if you have not seen it, I recommend you pause this video, take 40 hours to watch it and get a 20-minute nap in, then come right back here. Or don't. The moment-to-moment writing on the show is so good that even if you know where the show is headed, I think you would still enjoy it. You in specific. Succession video essays are nearly non-existent on YouTube, and that's a big old fib. There are so many talking about the camera, the writing, the characters, the performances. Basically every aspect of the show has a video essay where someone talks about why that specific thing makes the show better. And I'd say like 95% of those essays are good and correct in their assessment that the show is good, and good at explaining why a specific part of the show works. If I was gonna do one, it would be about how the writers don't sacrifice individual episode storylines for the greater narrative. I watched episode 8 of season 4 while I was in California with my family, and none of them have seen a single episode of Succession. So while they did have questions, we did a little Q&A after the episode where I explained anything they had questions about, and that was really fun. Even though they didn't fully understand all the characters' relationships and the bigger picture stuff, they fully got the episode. They got the election. And I think that makes the show more compelling. It's why the procedural is such a staple of cable TV, and I would say that the writing on any given episode of Succession is a little bit better than the writing on a random episode of SVU. But I don't want good analysis from myself or from others. I don't want an in-depth look at a part of the series I never really thought of before. I want to know, does Kendall suicided in the end of Succession season 4 episode 10? You'd think if you're optimizing your title for SEO purposes, you'd spell the main character's name right, but what do I know?
The 4 seasons of Succession follow Logan as he contends for the throne of Waystar Royco with his father, his brothers, Connor, Shiv and Roman, and himself. It was predicted that this struggle would either end in Logan's demise or in him being appointed CEO.
Very quickly, it gets some really basic things wrong. Logan Roy is not trying to become the CEO. That's Kendall. You know, the guy from the title. They even say that.
He begins the season preparing to succeed his father, Logan Roy, as CEO of Waystar Royco before the entire succession plan is scrapped after the reveal that Lucas was going to choose Shiv Roy's husband Tom Lambskins as CEO of Waystar Royco.
Nah. No, you can't give a character a name like Tom Wamsgams and then have people fucking it up. Come on, get your robot voice to say it right.
The signs pointed to Kendall ending the series with his death. Kendall Roy doesn't die in Succession's finale.
So he doesn't die. Kendall Roy does not die in the season finale. And then we go into a chapter of the video entitled, Died? Oh. You just told me he didn't.
Kendall decides to continue living her life outside of Waystar and retreats from the lake, sitting down instead.
Yes, she does. She does retreat from the lake. You know that big lake that they put the Statue of Liberty in? That's the one. So it's clear no one is like doing quality control on these videos. It's a 4-minute video. It's pretty breezy watch. No one's checking the scripts. No one's making sure the robot's not making shit up. When people call online video content, that's what this is. This is content derogatory. The thumbnails for their videos, killer. Some of them are fucking ridiculous. Here's the one for the Kendall video. We got one for pregnant Logan child. See, that one's actually a double meaning because you've got the pregnant one of Logan's children on the left, but then someone who could potentially be pregnant with another one. These are actually good videos. This one made me lose my job. I like where I work, but I guess not anymore. Quick question. Why'd they bite? But I gotta check out this one that implies that Tom and Greg murdered Logan Roy.
Tom's explanation of Logan's death in season 4 of Succession created a significant potential twist. Tom told Greg new details of Logan's death at his wake that raised several questions. Kendall also revealed that his father died of a pulmonary embolism, or a blood clot in an artery that stops flow to the lungs. This is consistent with Logan's pre-existing health issues that followed him throughout the series and hinted at Logan Roy's inevitable death.
Yeah, we know that his cause of death is consistent with his known medical problems, but that's all just a cover-up for why Greg's an evil murderer.
Tom explains to Greg that Logan died trying to fish his dropped cell phone out of the toilet, which was thought to be clogged by Carl. While darkly humorous, that depiction of Logan is also seemingly out of character, and raises the question of what actually happened in the bathroom before Logan ultimately died. Although Tom seems to be telling Greg the truth regarding Logan's cause of death, it seems highly improbable that Logan would have reached his hand into a clogged, disorganized toilet.
I can genuinely say, I don't think I've ever heard anyone refer to a toilet, a clogged toilet, as disorganized.
The boss keeps giving me all this payroll stuff, and I just can't keep track of it all.
Hey, Terry, I need the piss file. Whoa, Terry!
Oh, I'm so sorry, 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 I'm so sorry.
Terry the Disorganized Toilet is filmed in front of an unimpressed studio audience.
Tom's story of Logan sticking his hand in a clogged toilet is difficult to fully believe, especially since there was no mention of it by anyone else on the plane, and no other information about Logan's phone has been stated previously.
Yeah, nobody else called the toilet disorganized. How could we possibly believe Tom's story? What do you mean no one talked about it's his phone? How often do you talk about when you get do you want a scene where Roman and Shiv talk about how excited they are that their dad got an iPhone? Finally, so his text won't be green anymore. There are more important things for them to talk about than his phone. The most notable thing it did was fall in the toilet because that led to him dying. You know, no one really talks about John Wilkes Booth before. Where is Logan's phone? In the disorganized toilet.
It's still unknown who took custody of Logan's phone after his passing.
I just feel like the phone is not the most important part of Logan Roy dying. I feel like his death was a little more important to the people in his life. Not to get into it too much, but at this point in the show, Tom has put all of his eggs in the Logan basket. So why would he then kill the guy? He knows none of the Roy children like him, least of all his wife. God, it's such a dumb theory. It's such a dumb, begging for a twist theory. These videos are all from a channel called Movies Vibes, which has 105,000 subscribers and 71 million total views. They're a content farm, and when you're putting out 2 to 4 videos per day, the views and the subscribers are gonna stack up, and I don't feel insecure on this platform at all. Their About section reads, Movies is one of the top organization on movies on YouTube. Yeah, I feel no shame about ripping into this channel. It's clear that at no point did anyone put any effort into it. Movies Vibes continues to work with studios to be the go-to source for movie and TV news, reviews, and in-depth analysis.
It seems highly improbable that Logan would have reached his hand into a clogged, disorganized toilet.
They continue to work with studios. I can't imagine any studio working with this YouTube channel because I can't imagine a human working for this YouTube channel. Okay, maybe there's one. Maybe there's a human who decides what the videos are going to be about, but that's probably about it. They also have a website that features a different spelling of Movies Vibes and articles that are like the truth to a Swedish pop supergroup. Even more incomprehensible. God, that joke's a fucking walk to get there. And while they have a lot of videos about the show, they have one article about Succession. Succession. Adrian Brody will be the 3rd billionaire at the time. Maybe spelling people's names wrong is just their thing. The article also has just the lowest quality JPEG I've ever seen. And I've seen a celebrity tweet about another celebrity's death. The Oscar will be credited as it is convincing. One of the most eloquent of the last ones, Succession countered with one of the Oscars in her late teens. Truly. What does any of that mean? It is funny to mention someone's Oscar and also them being eloquent in the same sentence. Not to discredit Adrian Brody, I have no reason to think he isn't well-spoken, but he hasn't written any of the words to any of the movies he's been in, except for the 2013 phone-based comedy, Inappropriate Comedy, which was co-written and directed by the Sham Wow guy?
Go ahead. Make me gay.
This is the youngest ever winner for Best Leading Actor at the Academy Awards. And he was in this movie. Would you believe it if I told you this is one of the better parts of the film? Holy shit. This is one of the most incompetent films I've ever watched. There's a bit in the movie, we're going to get a little off topic here. There's a bit in the movie, a recurring bit, called The Amazing Racist.
Welcome to The Amazing Racist,
where one of the other writers, who's a stand-up, is racist. And the way that I know this is pre-written and not actual man on the street stuff is because in the bit that is just 9 minutes of him saying that Asian people are bad drivers. That's the whole bit for 9 minutes. One of the people who gets into the car, I know is an actress. And I know she's an actress because she was Ray William Johnson's girlfriend. And I used to watch Ray William Johnson's vlogs. I can feel how red my face is right now. This is easily the most embarrassing information I have willingly given up on the internet. Everyone's also mic'd really well, including the ones where they're out in public. None of it is actually interacting with real people. By the end of the movie, I was genuinely upset. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
Welcome to the Porno Review Podcast. I'm JD.
And I'm Harriet with your female perspective.
Well, like most guys, Harriet, I hope we go straight to the titties, not a lot of talking.
No need to worry. Today's film is an international one.
Ah, great, a foreign film. You know what that means? Subtitles covering up the bush.
It is dog water from top to bottom. Speaking of dog water from top to bottom, Adrian Brody has joined HBO to make sure she doesn't have to worry about giving her family an impeccable Midatico. Don't worry, that is not an English word. It is Italian for miditic, which is also not an English word. The story of Josh Aronson, written as a billionaire activist that will be important in the Battle of Waystar via Deadline. This sentence, or I guess this fragment, makes sense. On Succession, he played a character named Josh Aronson, who you could describe as a billionaire activist. I could not source this quote to Deadline, though, but it seems like something they would say. And those words made sense in that order. So maybe we're moving in the right direction. I'm not even going to try with this. I'm just going to put the robot speaking this one like it's one of their fucking videos.
Focada no imperial mediatlaco controlado pela rica e poderosa família Roy, Succession mostra tanto os aspectos profissionais de uma empresa familiar, quanto o relacionamento bastante complicado entre os parentes.
First some Italian, now some Portuguese. How international. Other than the language switch, this makes sense. Talking about how the business side of things and the personal side of things often get in the way of each other and lead to conflict within the Roy family. Yeah. That's Succession. That's the show. Lealidad, familiar, and the paradoxes of the most powerful cannot be found in the School of 21 with its 2 aborted assumptions. What on earth is the School of 21? How is that the thing it decided to write in an article? Recently, this series begins as one of the great Venice of Emmy 2020, which means we have set our premiums, including Melhor's series of dramas. Ah, the great Venice of Emmy 2020, everyone's favorite film festival / TV award show that happened at the height of the pandemic. As the first time, this is available on HBO Go. Not anymore. It's Max now. Can we cut to a clip? Thank you. Did you get all that? Do you understand the article? Do you get what's going on now? The About Us section on their website makes about as much sense as the one on their YouTube channel. I'm just surprised it's not the same copy. With more than 3 years of experience in the world of young people via the Movies Vibes site, more than 3 million per month on YouTube channel, music, movies, series, celebrities. Yes, they have had months where they get more than 3 million views, but it's not the norm for them. But if you only got to do it once, then all my videos have 500,000 views. it feels pretty good. You will find the best of the news that creates buzz on the web, all treated in an offbeat way and in line with the codes of 1525 years. I'm so glad they're staying in line with the famous code of 98. Or maybe it's the code of 08. Those are basically the same year, right? I mean, 08, we all know we got the Barack and Joe team up, but 1998, I don't know what happened then. Nobody knew how to use the internet. It sounded like this. Movies Vibes, your #1 source for all things music, movies, entertainment, games, celebrity news. We're dedicated to giving you the very best of trending news. Founded in 2019, Movies Vibes has come a long way since its beginnings. We now serve customers all over. Was any of this written by a real person? The bolded and bracketed 2019 makes me think this is like a Mad Libs type beat, but I would hope if that was the case, it would make a little more sense than this. Okay, let's get back to their great Succession analysis. 5 burning, unanswered questions we have after Succession finale.
It's impossible to deny that some big questions are left after the conclusion questions, so big that it almost feels like the 4th season being the end is relatively premature. Will Jared Mencken block the Waystar-Royco merger?
I don't think so. Even if he is elected, Mencken already has what he wants from ATN under the Roy Boys leadership. He has all the power in that relationship. He doesn't have to keep the other two happy. What are they going to do? Run a smear campaign on their conservative news network against the widely popular white supremacist candidate? Yeah, that's a brilliant strategy. And it's not like Gojo is coming into this wanting to radically change the politics of Waystar. They know what they bought. That's why they bought it.
Will Jared Mencken even become president?
I think this is one thing the writers did really well, was have the election episode as a reminder that these are immoral people who are looking for money above everything else, and then end the show before we even know the final call. It's all about money and power and furthering their own personal cause, even at the expense of their own legitimacy or democracy or their children's safety. Shiv puts up a fight to stop the push for Mencken, but Kendall hears she's working with Matsson, and any concern she might have over them helping a fascist take power is immediately illegitimate in his eyes. We get that line in the finale where Shiv's telling Willa she thinks that Mencken might not win things. It's still up in the air.
I heard the latest about the Wisconsin court thing.
I'm sorry, what court thing?
It's hiccup. Just a little hiccup for Jared, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Mencken might not make it, and so maybe you might get to keep them all yourself. Oh, great.
And that's the last we hear of it. We don't know how it'll fall because it doesn't really matter to the Roy family. Elections don't have the same consequences for them as they do for normal people.
Will Connor and Willa's relationship endure? A surprisingly minor element of the show in season 4 was the relationship between Connor and Willa.
They're secondary characters. They got married. I don't know, something else happened that episode. But that was like a whole episode. When we see Connor in the show, Willa is almost always there. And when she's not, it's because he's trying to get a hold of her. It's only a minor element of the show because they're not the protagonists. I think they're both kind of losers in the eyes of the world. And their relationship works because it's about feeling like you're doing something right. So I don't think they'll go their separate ways. Not for now, at least. Maybe when Connor gets older, they just need to not be on top of each other as much as they are right now. We all saw how excited Willow was for the ambassadorship and to do some long distance, but I think they'll be okay. This season especially made me appreciate Alan Ruck. He does a lot with not nearly as much screen time as the other Roys. So I might be wearing Kendall on my shirt, but I'm a bit of a conhead.
What will Kendall do now?
Cry. Piss his pants, maybe. Continue to be baby girl. I mean, materially, he'll be fine. He'll never worry about food or shelter or a medical expense or a really fun, expensive purchase. He's gonna be okay. If he wants to start a new business, he could do it. He's got the capital, both monetary and social. He could get into politics, which his brother was interested in from a young age. To the outside world, he'll move on. He'll do other things. But in here, he will always have fallen short. And he lost a lot to fail that hard. But he was always going to. He's never been a hero. He's done a lot of bad things. He's done a lot of dumb things. On the rare occasion that he's done a good thing, it's been for the wrong reason. Sometimes the good things he does are also very dumb. It was enthralling to watch him keep pushing that boulder up a hill, but it rolled back down and it feels like it's rolled back down for good. These are not bad questions. I like talking about all these parts of the show, and like, this is a good place to start a discussion. I'm not using their analysis because their analysis was not great.
It's never exactly clear if the controversial declaration of Mencken is being considered seriously by the U.S. government.
But these are good questions. What's the next one?
All of these questions may never be answered, and maybe that's for the best in this reprehensible businessman's tragic end.
Don't forget to subscribe. Are you fucking kidding me? Now I'm just ripping through them. Give me more. I need more Succession content.
Logan looks miserable as the episode concludes as he sits on the couch and watches ATN News. Despite the fact that Logan won Succession Season 3 and is now embarking on Season 4, he is not content.
Do they think Logan Roy knows he's in a TV show? Is he gonna do a classic Jim look while Connor talks about cryogenically freezing himself? This is just a bit of crazy editing.
Even though the wealthy Logan Roy ultimately prevailed in the Succession Season 3 finale by excluding Kendall, Roman, and Shiv from company control, the fallout from his actions has
We're talking about Logan, so show a clip of him, cut to a clip of Roman on Roman's name, cut to a clip of Logan on Kendall's name, then a bunch of quick edits for no reason. What the hell is happening here? They also repeat the phrase, "his passion for the game has a price," which is an insane thing to hear a computer say.
Logan's obsession with winning has caused him to alienate 3 of his kids, showing that his passion of the game has a price. Logan's obsession with winning has caused him to alienate 3 of his kids, showing that his passion of the game has a price.
The robots in a recording booth, they don't use a text-to-speech bot. They use a real robot that has a text-to-speech voice. So he's in the booth recording audio for this video, and he says his passion for the game has a price, and feels really proud of himself. Why Logan already lost and not happy? Why Logan avoiding things?
Logan believes that he is invincible and needs to lose to be humbled. It would make for a more satisfying ending if Logan doesn't end the show victorious. Despite his moments of vulnerability, he is still a villain, and it would be entertaining to watch his downfall.
We don't even get to see his downfall. He's there and then he's gone. It's like a magic trick. We see more of him in that video for Living Plus than we do when he drops his phone in that disorganized toilet. Okay, last one.
If one Roy sibling can be said to have come out at least even at the end of Succession, it's Sarah Snook's Shiv, who was last seen getting into an SUV with new Waystar Royco CEO Tom, and can look forward to a future of manipulating the father of her child. While Kendall may have been literally suicidal at the end of Succession, the character has always shown an ability to bounce back, and it's likely that he will make a new play to gain influence at Waystar Royco somewhere down the line. No Roy brother was arguably left at a lower place than Culkin's Roman, who was completely cut off after Waystar Royco was acquired by Lucas Matson, and now appears to be in isolation.
So by their assessment, Roman is the biggest loser, then Kendall, then Shiv on top. I'm gonna have to disagree. Roman is free. I don't know if he ever really wanted it, but Kendall and Shiv are always saying he's not cut out for this job and this life. And they're right. He's not. I don't think the business world, at least not one at Waystar, was ever one that Roman was gonna thrive in. He tried to fire Jerry, but she's still going and he's not. Now he can live a life without Waystar, a life that he can choose. Kendall also can live that life, but I worry that he won't. I'm concerned that Waystar will loom over his life like a dark cloud over a sad cartoon character.
By the end, Roman may be in a worse situation than Kendall, because he doesn't appear to have any emotional support.
Oh yeah, but Kendall does. Kendall's got so much emotional support. Here he is in Battery Park, with all of his friends just out of frame.
The idea that he has no friends in the world, and that his strange relationship with Jerry is also over, makes the character rather sympathetic.
I don't think that's it. I think what makes him sympathetic is that he's the runt of the litter. Physically, he's outclassed by everyone, even Kendall, who's not particularly tall. He's not good at business. I mean, none of them are, but Kendall has the vibe of someone with business acumen, and Shiv has her political background. Rome would constantly get bullied by his siblings and his father into making whatever decision they wanted him to make. He was abused by his family as a child, and now as an adult, He seeks that same abuse as validation. That's what makes him sympathetic. Not the fact that his coworker, who he sent dick pics to with, let's say, varying degrees of success, doesn't want to talk to him anymore.
Maybe in the future, Succession and the Roy siblings will come up again, and Jesse Armstrong can come up with a different, less depressing conclusion for Roman.
I mean, I don't think so. One thing I will say Movies Vibes is lacking, other than a conscience, a point of view, anything like that, is they don't have any videos about Greg. Good old, tall, lanky Greg. So to fill that void, I've decided to make a video about Greg in the style of Movies Vibes. Please enjoy.
In Succession, one character stands tall above all the others. Greg Hirsch is a character who enters the world of Kendall, Roman, Shiv, Tom Whams Gims, Logan, Marcia, Frank, Connor, Kendall, Carolina, Stewie, Happy Pride, Willa, Jerry, Carl, Hugo, Lucas, and Kendall as a nobody with no experience who seems to be a pretty upstanding guy. He smokes weed and is unemployed, but he gives Shiv his last $20 and likes the musical Hamilton. Through his time with Tom Whamslam, he eventually loses this kindness and becomes another ruthless suit, only doing what is necessary to make more money and leave out morals. This is because Tom Walls it is a punching bag for the Roy family and he wants a taste of hitting a stuffed or inflated bag, typically cylindrical or pear-shaped, suspended so it can be punched for exercise or training, especially by boxers. Greg used to be nice. But then he got mean. When during Thanksgiving Tom Witchy Brew makes Greg shred a bunch of documents, Greg goes to Waystar Royco on Thanksgiving to shred a bunch of documents. He does this so Tom wherefore doesn't get into trouble, which works until the Senate wants to get Tom Winsock in trouble for the shred a bunch of documents moment that occurs on Thanksgiving thanks to Greg. When testifying, Greg talks like an absolute weirdo who is not talking to know what to say, but to have it be said. Ultimately, neither Greg nor Tom Wimp Skimps get into trouble, which tells Greg that bad things do not happen to the bad people. He is more likely to be a bad person if he knows that the actions he takes have very little consequences. And because neither Greg nor Tom, the pride of Minnesota, wish Kitty get into trouble, which tells Greg that bad things do not happen to the bad people. He is more likely to be a bad person if he knows that the actions he takes have very little consequences. In the series finale, many things have happened since we first met Greg who puked out the eyes of a dog. Tom What Snake gives Greg a little sticker because they go together like Rama Lama Lama Ka Dinga Da Dinga Dong. Greg now fires people and is no longer just chopping it up. But he always liked to dish out the goss to anyone who it could help, and that's why he's the head at the table.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Really, it means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you wouldn't mind leaving a like or subscribing, I'd appreciate that. I'm not even going to mention Succession in my next video. I'm not going to say a word about it. Lips zipped. Gonna put a tie on my toilet later. Isn't that funny? I'm such a good comedian. Thank you very much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Born on the North Bank, king of the East Side. Diaz wrong, then wrong, and a slick ride. Handmade suits, breaking in loot. 5-star general, your best salute. Yo, bitches be catty, but the King Kong daddy. Then roll a fatty.